Hello and welcome to Fender Play Live. I'm Eugene Edwards, come to you live from Southern California, and today we're going to dive into fingerpicking on electric guitar. It's typically thought of as a technique exclusive to acoustic guitars, but not so. Today we're going to show you why it's also great for electric players. And helping us with today's topic is an FPL newcomer, Taylor Gamble, also known as Taylor the G. Taylor, welcome.
Yeah. Hi.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for joining us. And also, as always, we can't do this show without him. Believe me, we've tried. The doctor, Dylan Caligiuri. Dylan, say hello to the people.
Hello, everybody.
There you
Finger
go.
picking good time we're going to have today. So get ready.
Okay, I thought that joke was coming later. All right, he got it out early. Impressive. Okay, so for everyone who hasn't met Taylor before, she's a songwriter and a touring guitarist who's played with Audie Lennox, Victoria Monet, among others. Taylor, welcome. And can you tell us what gear you have? What are you playing? Tell us about that guitar.
Okay, I am playing an American Professional 2. I love this guitar. It's all single coil. It has a coil tap on the bottom. You know what I mean? You can adjust more tones, more settings. And I'm in love with this guitar. And it's pink, and I haven't come up with a name for it. So if anybody can help me with a name.
This is exciting. So yeah, it's a beautiful pink, kind of a pink shell finish on there, and she has it. You usually name all your guitars. You've got a couple.
Yes.
So if you guys have suggestions for Taylor's guitar, please drop them in the comments. Taylor, can we hear a little sample of that American Pro 2, please? Wow, it sounds like a harp.
It does.
That was
sounds
beautiful.
Good.
That sounds nice and
Sounds
clean.
real good.
Can I ask you real quickly, what pickup selection are you out of phase right now? Are you?
I'm actually in the second position.
Oh, okay, yeah.
My coil tap is up. It's not pushed down. Like I love push down for like more distorted stuff, but I feel like since we're doing finger picking.
Yeah, that's a good tip right there. Dylan, what do you got?
I have an American Pro 2 Olympic White Telecaster. Standard, good old run-of-the-mill Telecaster straight off the line, and it sounds really good. Here, I'll give you guys an example. So
Sweet. It's a classic Tele, and you're going in the Mustang. What preset are you using? I'm curious.
actually that's a great question. I'm using a preset from the song "This Way." That's on. It's actually, you can grab this right off of the Fender tone site.
You can download it from the tone app. Yeah,
Right.
This is my American Original in Fiesta Red, which apparently Taylor is planning on stealing.
I'm She's
gonna take it. And I'm going through the Mustang, and I'm using setting 101 called Buckaroo. It's going for that real classic 60s country. Although I turned the treble down quite a bit because it's a little harsh over Zoom. So anyway, let's get on with this. If you're an acoustic guitar player, don't tune out. A lot of this is applicable to acoustic as well. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section, and we'll try to answer them. But let's start out with hearing some electric fingerstyle. Taylor, can you please play for us a little bit, and then we're going to kind of talk about how you got into it and give some tips for the people. So take it away.
Cool.
Right. So obviously you're very experienced at this. So let's help out the beginners here. Let's start at the beginning. When and why did you decide to drop the pick, as it were?
Well, I was listening to this classical album, and I don't know what I was thinking when I was younger, but I was just in love with like just how like melodic it sounded, like how they were able to like bring out all the different notes, and I was like, how do they do that? And YouTube is my generation, so I went on YouTube and I was watching. I was pulling up some classical players, and I ended up falling in love with like Tommy Emmanuel, Gore, and like watching them and like just seeing how they were able to move their fingers, and I was like, wow, that's so cool. I was like, I want to be able to do that. So I was like, I found one of the slowest songs I could play. And I was like, let me just try to get my fingers moving, and eventually it just kind of became like a thing for me, and I loved it. I still do it so often.
So it stands to reason. So you were playing guitar already with a pick. You'd learned with a pick, and then you heard something that inspired you, and you just eventually grooved into it, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So how would you advise? So actually, we have a question already from SF Kim Rush. I'm thinking it's Kim Rush from San Francisco. That's my guess.
Oh, wow. That's good. Hey,
I see how I broke that down.
that was good, Eugene.
How do I could do work for Langley? How do I get started with finger picking? So Taylor, can you show us a technique from, just think back to when you were starting? What was one of the first things you did, and see if SF Kim Rush can pick up on it?
Okay. Pretty much like if we start off with like an E major chord, which we have here, right? Pretty much what I did was I just took my time, and you can start off with maybe like 2 or 3 fingers. The thumb is really important, so you always want to make sure you implement the thumb in your playing, and that's the one that I would start off with the most. And I would just take my time with a metronome and just 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then eventually you can add 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1, and then 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3. Or you can mix it up. I practiced mixing it up as well after I got past that, which is 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, or 1 2 3. It's just really taking your time. Yeah.
So so it seems it's really important here is that you just kept the fret hand staying put. Don't worry about that right now.
Don't worry about it.
Go with what you know here,
Yes.
and then incorporate this. Dylan, real quickly. I'm probably going to ask you kind of what lessons we have on the site that relate to what Taylor just did. But before I get there, why do we traditionally think of fingerstyle as being relegated only to acoustic guitar and using a pick just for electric? Why do we usually have that notion?
Yeah, so dating back all the way to like early lutes, which would be like the Renaissance period, and the very first guitars that come out of that, they used they were called gut strings. So they actually used strings that were made from the guts of animals. I know, doesn't that? Wow. I hope you wash your hands afterwards. Anyways, so the diameter of the strings were much larger, and so they allowed you to be able to play them with your fingers quite well, right? And you had something to grab onto, and then that fast forward. Literally, it's hundreds of years through flamenco guitar and all types of different guitar that passed on. And electric guitar comes out, and initially it's thought that you need something called a plectrum, the full name here for this, to play the electric guitar, because it gives it an attack, sort of a pluck sound, right? And that's one of the unique sounds of the guitar. However, very quickly, right off the bat, we have people crossing over from acoustic to electric and using their fingers right out of the gate. And so... Yeah. Guitar it shan't be held down. It shan't.
Right. We're always innovating. We're always. I mean, we should remember that the whole reason that our godfather Les Paul innovated with a pickup was so he could be heard over horns and big bands. So if we were in a big band already, it was already hard to be heard. So we're probably using a pick, just to get the velocity to play those chords.
Yeah.
So it stands to reason we were using a pick for volume in the first place. But once we ran through some electricity here, now we have. Another way of projecting our volume, and then we're going to use this. So now this leads me to my next thing here. In terms of inspiration, for you, Taylor, how does fingerstyle on electric lend to certain styles or genres for you?
It affords you the opportunity to play way more. Like, when you think about, like, say, for instance, like a funk type feel, normally people would think automatically, let's play some rhythmic funk type stuff with a pick or the plectrum.
Plectrum.
Plectrum. Indubitably, yes.
Yeah, so like if you were to play something, you go... so you have that bass in there to kind of help, and then keeping that slap going, keeping a little bit more of time, you know what I mean? So already you kind of really taking it up a notch versus just being a guitar player. Now you're keeping time, you're including bass, you know what I'm saying? It just takes it up to a whole different level.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that coming from a country background, we tend to do the hybrid picking anyway. It starts with the pick in between the index finger and the thumb, and so these guys are usually grabbing, and you get those and that's why in the intro I was doing stuff where you're snapping. You can chicken picking sort of and you don't have to have a pick for that. So we know that it's indelible to country. A lot of those guys started with banjo, which was just fingers, and then they grabbed a guitar. A lot of my favorite players actually started out as banjo players, and that's why I can't play like them. I can't play as fast as them.
Yeah, they're killing. Like,
And,
I know.
and of course, in blues, in acoustic blues, it was almost all fingerstyle. And then so some players just, like Muddy Waters, even when he went electric, he didn't use a pick. He just stayed with the fingers. So let's get into some questions. So let's go with from Robert McDowell, who's watching on YouTube. How long should one's fingernails be for learning fingerstyle? Taylor.
Ooh, that is a very good question. That is very contingent upon what it is that you're playing and the tone that you're trying to achieve. Typically, I wouldn't play with nails only because it gives you a little. You probably have to kind of roll back on the treble. But if you like that tinty sound, then great. But I would keep it short, because I really go for fingerstyle for more so warmer tones. And
Same
being
here.
Able to,
It's
like
the
you
pads.
can.
It's the pads of our fingers. Yeah, right.
I have nails.
Dylan does. So Dylan, what's your answer to this with the fingernail length?
Yeah, I mean, so I think if you're going to play classical guitar, if you're going to play nylon string guitar, you need nails because it helps you project. And I play a lot of nylon string guitar. But like otherwise, on electric guitar, the nails actually kind of make it a little bit harder to play, is what I would say. And they do alter the tone, and it tends to wear away the nails because they're metal on the nail. So a lot of people use nails and play electric guitar fingerstyle, and a lot of people don't. So it's really kind of whatever feels comfortable to you, to be honest. That's a good question.
Yeah. There you go. Maybe if your notes are nice and clean, that's the length they should be. But I know guys who they lacquer their nails to make them harder because they're that into it. So, and this one's from Doyle Durham. What a great name! That's a great name.
Doyle's a great guy. Yeah,
is it good?
Great guy, great name.
Doyle. That's a great on deck name. Can I try that? And on deck, Doyle Durham. He's watching on Facebook. As Taylor is picking, does she, and picking is an obviously as she's playing
finger.
Does she, as she's finger picking, does she drop her hand on the strings to create a percussion for the tune? And I'm assuming Doyle means your right hand.
Yes.
Your strum hand. So take it away, Taylor.
Okay, that is a great question because I wanted to talk about that too.
Oh, perfect.
The thing I was doing earlier when I was playing, that's actually like a slap. Like, it just, as I'm playing, as I'm plucking up, coming back down, pluck up, come back down. Like I said, it gives it a whole new like feel, like, so
we could almost say this is one of the advantages of doing this on electric guitar. Because I think when you're doing that, what we're hearing is the strings are then they're probably tapping onto the fret wire. Is that what's happening, Dylan?
So
we get
picking,
and I guess we get that acoustic as well. But I want to talk about. We have another question though. This is cool. On YouTube, Hernan Urueña. Hopefully I've got the name correct. Hernan Urueña. Watching on YouTube. Hi there, guys. Greetings from Australia.
Wow.
I'm a newbie with a question. Are some electric guitars with more space between strings for finger picking, or is that standard? Oh, yeah. Dylan, what do you know about that?
Yeah, so basically pretty much all electric guitars have generally the same amount of space between strings, which makes them a little tricky to finger pick with.
Oh, because you can't get in between.
Space. Compared to a nylon string, if you guys ever take a look at a nylon string guitar, the neck is gonna look quite large in comparison, but it's still doable. And there's some resources on Fender Play that you should check out. There's what is PIMA. There's a great article by Fender on this, and it's really comprehensive. We also have the finger picking techniques collection. So those are two great resources.
Real quick, I'm sorry, but PIMA, that's one of those.
Oh, I opened the can.
Just real fast. 30 seconds.
Okay. So PIMA, this comes from the Spanish names for each one of the fingers on your hand. And given that I'm sure there's some people that can speak Spanish watching this, I am not going to try to say them. But pulgar, and then this is going to go bad. So your thumb is P, I, M, and A.
Okay,
right?
I got you.
PIMA.
Okay.
And so that's the assignment. And because so much of fingerstyle guitar, really classical guitar, initiates from Spain, this is why it ended up with Spanish titles for the fingers.
Makes sense. Okay, makes sense. Well, we have a lot of questions coming in. We are going to get to them, I promise you, but we're going to kind of get back to what we want to. So we're excited to get to this. Let's talk about some notable players, though. Taylor, what electric fingerstyle players do you enjoy? Who inspired you? You mentioned Tommy, although he was an acoustic player, though, right? Tommy.
Yeah, he was an acoustic player.
So who on electric, works for you?
Honestly, I didn't listen to a lot of electric. I didn't even know it was a thing. I thought it was. Honestly, I didn't know it was really. I always is this right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it felt so unorthodox because you're used to seeing people with a pick, or if they're playing fingerstyle, it's with acoustic,
right.
or nylon. I think the first person I heard was Jeff Beck, and then the first person I saw was Fender's very own. Sorry, I'm kidding. Mateus, like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That was the first person I had ever seen, actually. Yeah.
Well, and there are notable players. Awfully, the first one that comes to mind is is Mark Knopfler.
Kids, that's called a
Dire
record.
Straits.
That's
right.
called a record, kids. So you're gonna want to, yeah.
It's easier to see the graphics on it, 12x12. Anyway,
can I name one person though?
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
2 words, one person. George Benson.
Oh,
Him too. I forgot to name him.
I have a
Wow,
shrine
that's so
over here. You can't
crazy.
see it. It's right off camera.
Yeah,
That's all.
he
I wanted to throw that out there.
fingerstyle.
I'll step back into this.
Breezen's the reason you're a guitar player. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah.
You were saying, Taylor?
I think I had listened to him for more soloing. I never really. I don't know why I didn't think about it. He did play fingerstyle.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
But
and Billy Gibbons, even some players that normally use a pick, they'll switch it up and just use their fingers like Billy Gibbons does on the intro to LaGrange, which we have on the site.
Yeah,
Pretty sure Keith Richards obviously starting Honky Tonk Women. And we have that one on the site as well.
Yeah.
Robbie Krieger of The Doors never used a pick. We have
Mark
People Are
Knopfler.
Strange. Mark Knopfler.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's probably the one I watched most as a kid and learned to... And those scrapes.
Yeah.
Those sort of things. Lindsey Buckingham, I think Dylan can probably play like Lindsey. I can't. Lindsey plays from Fleetwood Mac. He plays really, really fast.
Yeah, that's what you guys are talking about is the pluck, right? Like it's basically this unique thing about guitars we can strum. So a harp can strum, but a piano can't strum unless you play. So this is fingerpicking allows so many things, and also if you're really lazy and you're on the couch and your pick's way over there, you might just learn how to fingerpick. There's a lot of reasons why. A lot.
So we do have some questions to get to, but before we get, let's hear some more playing from Taylor. Taylor, can you just play a little more of that fingerstyle for us? Just a brief piece of music before we get back to some more questions.
Okay, so I'm gonna play one of the first songs I actually
fantastic.
successfully learned on a fingerstyle. So it was like
Nice.
All right.
Very nice.
Yeah. Is that who was that? Is that a
that
Taylor?
was actually Brian Gore and Andrew York.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful melody.
That's lovely.
And so we're going to talk about gear and tone coming up because that inspires some questions I have. But a couple of guitar name suggestions from earlier already.
Oh, good. Finally.
You ready, Taylor? We got
Yeah.
some good.
Yeah.
good- So Mary Talley says she suggests Pink Haze.
Pink Hazy.
Cute.
Antonio Lima Jr. Suggests Pink Tea. And Patrick O'Brien says, call it Angel. And this is from the Facebook community. Robert Hollander says, call it Shelley. And apparently
Shelley.
there's lots of agreement on that.
Lots of
Shelly.
It's a campaign is what I'm saying.
Pink that shell pink sort of thing. Shelly,
Yeah.
very clever.
Shelly, oh,
I thought I saw
absolutely.
someone going by the handle of Dylan Thomas suggested Pinky Tuscadero, which I had mentioned early in the call.
Yeah.
It's a great Happy Days reference. I think so. Anyway, so let's talk about tone and gear. What would be your suggestion, Taylor, to someone who wants to get started in style on electric guitar? What should they be aware of in terms of gear?
Okay. The biggest thing is making sure that whatever guitar you're playing, it can give you a warmer tone. So Stratocasters typically do great. Telecasters can do well as well. If you're looking for a more tintier sound, it's really about like your EQ, like how much treble, how much mids, how many bass, you know what I mean, that whole thing. And like typically you can control that through your amp, but I typically do a lot of dialing in when I'm playing fingerstyle on my guitar. You have your 2 tone knobs right here, because like I said, you can kind of like you want that warm tone, you know what I mean? If you want to add a little bit of reverb, a little bit of delay, that always helps, to bring out the the really melodic type of sound and stuff like that. Because,
now, am I assuming that if I don't use a pick and I'm just using my fingers, that I'm going to lose some of the treble end when I do that?
Yes.
So might I compensate on the amp for that?
Yeah, you can compensate on the amp for that. Typically, like I said, you won't have to compensate too much. I find myself being able to just switch straight to fingerstyle. Maybe boost treble like a little bit just to make sure the presence is still there, or presence. You can boost presence as well.
Oh yeah, there you go.
All amps don't have presence on it, so but to give it a little bit more presence, so that way, like I said, your notes are coming out clearly. You don't want it to sound really muddy and
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Or make sure that technique is nice and solid before you add distortion. Like we hear in the
Absolutely.
beginning of Money for Nothing. The beginning of Money for Nothing by Dire Straits, where it's very distorted, but he's very, very confident in his right hand at that point. Dylan, what are a couple of lessons on the site to get us started with fingerstyle?
Yeah, so I think one that people will really enjoy, and it's basically like bass note strums. So this idea, right, where you're learning how to kind of treat your guitar a little bit like a piano. So basically, you're thinking pianistically, so that you can play melodies on the top, and you're able to carry the rest of the band, the bass and the percussion parts of it on the bottom. So bass note strum is a great place to start. The early PIMA lessons are going to walk you through string sets. So you're going to be playing on the first 4 string sets, and then 5 through 2, strings 5 through 2, and then strings 4 through 1. And this we've got 4 fingers we're going to use here. The pinky's only used in something called raschiato. And then also in something called tremolo. So otherwise, really on electric guitar, you're going to be using these 4 fingers. And the PIMA technique, which as you get more used to P, I, M, and A, is going to walk you through that. So check out the Fingerpicking Techniques collection. That's a great place to start. If you're not a member of Fender Play, you should be, because you can get access to all this immediately. But if you're not, there's a great article online called "What is PIMA?" It's by Fender Play.
Okay, cool. One more thing about tone and gear. I just realized, so we should also about pickup selections here, where obviously being a country guy, I'm on the bridge pickup of a Telecaster, and because I'm going for that snap and all that high-end stuff. But I guess mentioning George Benson, or we talk about Wes Montgomery and his thumb and the octave style playing. Now that's more of a neck pickup thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Taylor, do you ever use the neck pickups or kind of the bassier tones when you play fingerstyle?
I typically, like I said, I'm used to playing, like, this is actually my first guitar with all single coil. I normally have a humbucker in the back at least, or like I'm a humbucker girl. Like,
I got you.
I love humbuckers, but
Okay.
I'm usually on on my back pickup, like towards the bridge. Or like I'll do like a split. Like right now I'm in second position, and like I said, my coil tap is up, so like it kind of, like I said, it gives you kind of that, that tone to where if I was playing fingerstyle, I'm not losing too much presence while I'm playing it as well. So,
That's a great tip. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
that is a good tip.
Couple more questions. We'll do some rapid fire answers so we can try and squeeze in some more playing. Stephen Colley on YouTube. He's saying, when I try the finger pick and slap technique, I don't get that nice click when my hand comes back down on the strings. Are you using the nails of your right hand to make that percussive sound?
Really, honestly, I guess you can say that. Like, Yeah, your nails, like I guess these are considered, knuckles too, but that part right
the
there,
very
like,
first knuckle.
yeah, the very first knuckle. You know what I mean? Like when I had that example.
Huh.
And you want to be really, really intentional about it. So it's something that you probably should slow down and like really be intentional about when you're picking up your fingers to when you're bringing them down and then coming back up again.
And this from I'm sorry.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Just
go
really
ahead,
quickly,
Dylan.
Stephen. There's a lesson on the site called "Stopping Sound with Your Right Hand" that goes into detail about this. It's about 4 minutes long. I think you'll be able to grab it immediately.
Good call, Dylan. Way to go. Nice chime in there. And from Jessica Schreiner, also on YouTube, how do you keep your fingers over the right strings all the time without anchoring my pinky down, I think is. So, Taylor, what's your tip there?
Ooh, that's a good question. To be honest, after a while, like I think the PIMA technique will definitely help you with knowing where you are. Because after a while, it kind of becomes like second nature. You'll be able to feel, like, of course, like for me, I feel it. Like my E string is the thickest string. So eventually, once you've been finger picking for a while, you'll kind of be able to tell like where, distance wise, okay, E is obviously up here, and I'll be able to feel it before I play it. Like this is the thickest string, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And, this is the thinner strings, and typically my thinner strings, I'm probably going to go in, and I don't know if it's technically correct to use your pinky, and you know what I mean? Like like I'll typically go in with that, or if I come up here, I can, but like I said again, it's just it kind of became second nature. I don't really have like an answer for that.
Gotcha.
Besides, that's just what comes to me like when I play fingerstyle.
And this is not a question, but a shout out from Keith Means in the Facebook community. Hi, Taylor, Keith. Your playing sounds like artwork.
Oh, well, that
beautifully
was
said,
Keith.
Taylor.
That was a nice thing to say.
Before we get on to the homework, and the giveaways, can you play a little more for us, please, just so we can dig this technique a little more?
Sure.
Thanks.
Ready? All right. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm still in D.
I thought that was a fancy trick.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and.
That was great. That was great. I love it.
I like it.
You pedaled that D string at the end. That was fantastic. It's very clever. Great. You did a few things in that piece that I was hoping we were talking about. Dylan, you and I mentioned earlier those double stops and triple stops, but in fingerstyle, slightly different sound and just a different vibe than when we're using our pick for those things. I know that happens a lot in country, but I always think that sometimes if we're using our fingers instead of a pick, we play certain things kind of sound like horn stabs,
right?
As a or like think of it like 3 different horns with different embouchures, and we have 3 different fingers as opposed to them being straight. So it's just something to think about when you're playing. So thank you so much for Taylor for that. That was I think it's very inspirational playing.
So like if you're a singer, if you sing, because I think more like a singer, like when I play guitar, like, or a background singer, like when I'm accompanying somebody. And that kind of helps me be able to like come up with, more ideas, like especially like double stops and stuff like that. Singers, they'll ad lib all the time. So if you can think of like some harmony parts or whatever as a singer, or as a horn player, that's a great example too. Like I think that can help, people with.
Good point. Good point. I think I'm much more deliberate as a player if I don't use a pick. I have to think about every note I play.
Really?
I can't just scrape that because I can't just be sloppy and scrape along all 6 strings and whatever happens on the fretboard happens. Let's get to some homework. Dylan, this is your time to shine, buddy.
All right. Well, okay. So if you're a beginner, congratulations, you came to the right place.
Yeah.
This can be an intimidating topic, right? It can really seem like, gosh, now I got to do something over here and then over here. This is getting overwhelming. So the key here is to lean into that stress and agitation and to lean on some of the program here. So check out the PIMA, Intro to PIMA on the site, and work on that pattern on one string. And you just let it come to you, right? So. And Jessica had asked a question about how you develop not needing to keep your pinky down as a rest. This is called a rest stroke. And you'll notice in between each one, I'm stopping the sound of the string versus free stroke. So, and these are all things that we unpack, and they actually give you the confidence to jump into this without going like, what am I getting into here? Okay, great. So intermediate. Finger pick a bass note strum. Now, we've got a bunch of great ones on the site. You can check out the lesson on this. Okay, so find a bass note strum on the site that you like and go after it.
Start at an easier tempo.
Maybe a little slower. Maybe a little. I had a lot of cafe today. So that's not okay. Advanced. Learn the intro to Lagrange and fingerstyle. So we have. And you're going to know what's the hardest thing about this is stopping sound. It's the decay of a note that becomes this really hard thing to control in fingerstyle. It's something you don't have to worry about as much here.
Right.
So you guys are getting into it. You're going to love it. This is where guitar just explodes into possibilities. You know.
I agree. And now it's time to give some stuff away. So what have you got for us today, Dylan?
Oh yeah. Okay. So perfect. So if this is your first time watching, every week we give away a free piece of gear to a Fender Play subscriber, and all they have to do is simply be a member and use it a minimum of 21 minutes or 3 7-minute sessions, and they're automatically entered to win a free piece of gear. And it's not just, we're not talking about picks. We're talking about guitars, amps, ukuleles, mandolins, Snoopy harp. They don't have Snoopy harp. But we have, there's all kinds of things there, right, that you can pick from if you win. So all you got to do again is 21 minutes a week, and you're automatically entered to win. So you guys want to hear who won this week?
So excited. Been waiting
Okay,
for
give me a little bit, a little fanfare. Up. Sam B.
Way to go,
I knew it was
Sam.
going to be Sam. I knew
Way
it was
to go,
Sam.
Sam B.
I knew it was going to be Sam.
Congratulations, Sam. Enjoy your new guitar, bass, amp, whatever it is that you choose. What do we have in terms of Fender Play updates, Dylan?
New stuff on the site. Always, constantly. Check the site. You got to check the songs tab. There's always something there. So check it. This is very apropos for this month. Listen to this one. Let's see. Anybody get it? Anybody guess? Go ahead.
Taylor, you guess it?
I'm coming out.
All right, Diana Ross. Exactly.
Diana Ross.
Okay,
yeah.
it's Pride Month. I'm coming out. Just a little bit of a. Okay, and then we got Shining Star on bass.
Star,
This is kind of a must-have.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Taylor told me
on that.
she is into Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh my god! I know every song, oh my god! My first solo was literally "That's the Way of the World." That was the first solo my dad had me learn.
Great chord.
Your dad made you
Yes.
big
So you
music
guys learn that.
education.
Love Earth, Wind, and
You
Fire.
guys got to learn that and post it on the site, and then Taylor's going to like it. And
Yes.
last but not
I will.
least, you didn't know the ukulele could do this, did you? You didn't know. Boom, boom. John Lee Hooker. That's right. And you know what? You want to wow your friends at a party. You want to impress your boss and get that new raise you need. Bring your ukulele and play Boom Boom by John Lee Hooker, and bam, it's just going to start exploding for you.
John Lee ukulele.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
So thank you for the homework there, Dylan. I hope we all work hard this week on that. Huge thank you to Taylor Gamble, or Taylor the G, for helping us with electric fingerstyle guitar, gracing us with her talents and presence. We want to hear what you have coming up. Plug away, Taylor.
Okay. I'm working on my own EP. I have a single coming out very soon. We're projecting August, which I'm really excited about. I have a gig coming up. I don't want to jinx it, so I'm not going to say it. But it's like
I've been there. I understand.
A couple things coming into play. Like I said, I'm really excited because I've been songwriting a lot lately, and I'm excited for you guys to hear my material, for myself as well as for other people. And yeah, that's what I've been working on. But, yeah.
One last guitar name.
Oh.
From Ariel Bujosa. She suggests Rosé.
Rosé.
Cute.
That is a really good one.
I like
actually.
that.
Not bad.
Rosé.
All right. Until then, keep those names coming. Good luck with the naming process there, Taylor. And until then, keep safe, everyone. Keep practicing. We'll see you next week at the same time. And everybody, we're going to play out on a G chord in fingerstyle. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4.